Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Moonshiners Racing here on Depot Street Sports. I am your interim host, Zachary Kendall. I am joined here with Aiden Fortney, and we have a special guest joining us as well, Stephen Malazzi. I don't know how to say the last name. How do you say your last name?
Malazzi.
Okay, Stephen Malazzi. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, he's here with us. He's going to tell us his entire story, honestly, getting up to NASCAR. And I guess the first question I do have for you is, when did you get interested in racing? And did you always want to pursue a career in racing?
Yeah, definitely always did. I was really young when I took an interest in like cars. So I actually have I'm just decorating my room now. So I'm moving, right? So I got all my racing shit behind me. I got some race cars there, some die cast. But gosh, I was probably like 3 or 4. And I couldn't really talk yet. I was a late bloomer. And I could name car brands. It was like the one thing I could do is name car brands as they drove by. That was turned into like a love for racing games, Mario Kart, Need for Speed Underground, NASCAR Thunder 2004, that kind of stuff. And then one day I won the championship on Thunder, and I walk upstairs to my dad. I'm probably 8. I'm like, hey man, I'm so good at these video games. I bet you I could do it in real life. And he's like, that's just not how this works. He took me to a go-kart track then when I was 9. It was for my 9th birthday. And rest is history. We did indoor rental go-karts for years and years and years before we finally made the transition to competitive karting at age 13, where I, won a national championship, raced overseas in Europe for a little while, raced in the Olympics of karting, which is actually, again, I'll do this one more time. That's where that bumper's from. You can see the American flag. It also has my name on it. It's from Road Tax Grand Finals, where I got my ass kicked by a bunch of, other nations. I finished, I think, 52nd out of 64 drivers in the class, or 72 drivers in the class. It was not good. And that was sort of how it all started.
And okay, I think Aiden has some for you. Go ahead. Not okay. And from there, who honestly would you say gave you your first big break getting into the sport, or did you just find your path your own way?
Yeah, so at first it was my dad, right? Like I think every race car driver, we could talk about for hours, daddy's money and race cars, but I come from a well-off family, but not a racing family. Like that's a different level of rich. That's like my dad owns a pipe group and I can keep buying Xfinity rides for year after year type thing, if you know who I'm referencing. It's like one of those things, right? Like we're not like that. Like my dad's a lawyer. He's a first generation college grad. Like we had some good money, but we were not like NASCAR rich. So we did everything in karting on a budget. And then when I was 16 or 17, he got sick. He got diagnosed with cancer, and that sort of killed the career. So it died. It was done for years. And the prognosis was really weak. They said he had about 6 months, and that was, tough. I'm a high schooler. It's not easy to kind of get through that. And racing sort of got kicked to the back burner. But there was a good chunk of time where I still longed to be in the sport. So I started commentating. I eventually got a job with ESPN because of that. And I worked for them as a broadcaster for, I think, 3 years, which was pretty sick. I went to the University of Virginia, and then COVID hit, and I was, delivering pizzas at the time. I had some money saved up and I invested it all. It was probably like 10 grand. It wasn't a ton of money. It multiplied tenfold. So I had a chunk of change on my hands. And one day my dad walks into my room, and I am miserable. I am like grumpy as all hell. All this ARCA news about Daytona is coming out, and a bunch of the kids that I had karted with are now all racing in ARCA, right? They're all getting their shots. And I'm like, man, where was mine? Like I beat a ton of these kids back in the day, and now here they all are in NASCAR. And I'm sitting on my ass in January with no prospect of racing. And I told my dad that. And my dad's a pretty long fuse. Like he doesn't blow up that often. When he does, it's pretty big, but it doesn't happen frequently. And something about this really just set him off. He's a guy who at this point in the story, he got diagnosed in 2016, I think. We're in 2021. So we're 5 years into a 6-month diagnosis. He walks up to me, he sticks his finger about an inch from my nose and says, "Son, let me tell you something. If I had treated my cancer the way you treated racing, I would have died 5 fucking years ago." Turns, walks away, doesn't say anything else to me. And that was it. Like I was like, okay, well now this guy who sacrificed everything to help me race can't do it anymore, has just put his cards on the table and said, either put up or shut up. Like, this is it. I'm sick of this. I emailed everybody. I mean, legitimately, if they're in NASCAR in 2021, I probably sent them an email. I got maybe 4 responses. 2 of them were just, generic, like, no's, we can't really help you. One was from Bill McAnally. And then the other one was from the other one's more complicated, and I'll get into that in a second. Bill basically said, "Hey, I'm doing a driver development program. If you want to do it, it's $250,000. We'd love to have you." And then offered me for free to come out to California and test it. I was like, man, that's actually a super sweet deal. And all I wanted was, assurances that I was working hard to try and get in the program and figure something out, would commit something to it. It was a super generous offer. But at the same time, I had reached out to somebody at NBC Sports. His name is Mark Zumoff. He's a commentator, a famed commentator for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he basically said, I'd grown a relationship with him through commentating. And he basically said to me, "Hey, like, I know nothing about NASCAR. Sorry, I can't help you. But I know people who do." He connected me with Michael Carey, who now works for Junior Motorsports. Great guy. He's from Philly. We went and got cheesesteaks real quick in South Philly. And he said, "Hey, like, I like your story. I'm going to hook you up with somebody." And set me up with a guy by the name of Peter Salino. No idea what Peter does. No idea, like, what his affiliation is with NASCAR, even to this day. I know that he's close with Mamba Smith. So that's how I grew to know Mamba pretty well. And Peter basically called me and said, "Hey, like, don't give McAnally a dime. Like, it's probably not a pathway that'll lead to success." He's like, "It's your choice." He's like, "I get the appeal of the opportunity." He's like, "But I think I have a way that would work for you." And I called Bill and I said, "Bill, I appreciate the offer, but I don't think it's going to work out. I'm gonna go try something different." And Peter then called me like a day later and was like, "Hey, pack your bags. I want you in Charlotte this Saturday." And I remember getting there and sitting on the floor and thinking, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, how did I even get here, man? Monday morning, I drove to Peter's house. I picked him up, and he put in an address in my GPS. And that address was Rayom Brothers Racing. And that's where I met Josh Rayom. And Josh Rayom that day gave me an unpaid internship working in the shop. And I did that for months and months. And I worked at Domino's from 6 to 2 at night, the shop from 9 to 5 during the day. And Josh really took notice and basically helped me figure everything out. And that's kind of where it went.
Yeah, and from that, typically when you see other racers, obviously early on, they have a lot of backing with them with that money, and they find relationships. Seems like you had to grind a little bit, obviously, and you still are.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Who do you think your dad instilled in you that work ethic, or do you think you just like were you just had to find a way to put yourself in that position to where you're just gonna keep on clawing for every single dollar you can to make your dream of racing a reality?
Yeah, I think my dad, excuse me, definitely instilled that work ethic in me. And that started young, right? Like, that started great example. When I was in karting, I was in a heated championship battle with one of my biggest rivals, and he was all over me on the last lap. We come up on a lapped car, and didn't know what he was doing. Maybe first or second race for him. He does not get out of the way. I try an aggressive move to get around him. He turns hard right into me, wrecks us both. I get out. I throw my helmet. I break my $500 seat. I walk across a hot racetrack. and I lost it on this kid. I mean, I flipped out on him, and eventually he stopped racing that season. Uh, I feel really bad about that to this day. But my dad actually packed it up and sent us home. He was like, "Hey, like, we're not racing tomorrow. You can't pay for the seat. That's it. Like, I'm not paying for you to be stupid." He's like, "I'm not paying for you to be a jackass." He's like, "Crashes happen." He's like, "I'm here to fix whatever I can, whatever we can." He's like, "I'm not here to pay for your stupidity." He's like, "I work too fucking hard for this." And he's like, "And if you don't learn how to work hard too, that's your problem." He's like, "You're either going to figure it out yourself or you're not going to figure it out at all." And that was kind of like a big turning point where I realized that there's, levels of respect that you have to have for what you drive. And even to this day, like when I'm out there racing, in NASCAR, I, I can't afford a crash clause. So the relationships that I have built with people are on the premise that I will drive your shit as hard as I can while guaranteeing that I don't crash it. Like I'm not gonna push beyond the limit because I know you can't afford it on the contract that we have, and I can't afford it if I were to have a crash clause. So it's a really interesting dynamic of respect, specifically between me and Josh, that we have to have. Um, where I understand that like I have to work hard for this stuff, and how hard the team owners and the guys around me work to build the stuff that I drive. So yes, my dad played a big part in that, still does to this day, and it's something that I've carried throughout most of my adult life.
So my question is going to go back to your earlier days that you said you raced on NASCAR Thunder.
Yeah.
Uh, I was gonna ask. You won the championship. Well, was it a career or were you as a driver? Or
Oh yeah, it was a big career mode thing, and I always played as myself. And I
Mhm.
think one of the most like full circle moments of a racing career is I think a lot of us did. We made our own avatars in NASCAR games. And then this past year, I was in the NASCAR game. Like I could play it. I didn't have to make my own guy because I was just in it. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Yeah, I always thought it was really funny that the game would let you put in whatever birth date you wanted. So in like 2006, I was a 5-year-old racing in NASCAR, or a 3-year-old because I would still put in 2001 as my birth date. I was like, damn, they're letting a 3-year-old wax the floor with them. And it's actually funny. When I first sent in my approval application to, it was at the time Brett Bodine. I sent him an email and I'm like, Brett, I hope you know, like, we already got some bad blood. So I hope you approve this application because you were always somebody that was fighting around that 38th position in NASCAR Thunder 2004. And you and I used to beat and bang all the time in that 11 Hooters Ford you used to drive. I'm like, so just hope we can work this out. And funnily enough, originally he denied my application, but eventually we got approved. So that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great story, Brett. A good old Brett Bodine in the Hooters 11. Now that I think about it, uh, did you have a favorite driver growing up? And uh, do you model like how you race, how you drive after a certain driver, like back then and today?
Yeah, well, so I people wouldn't know this because you don't usually get to see a whole lot of the guy in 28th place on camera a lot. And I think true NASCAR fans know you race what you race, right? Like if you're in a 30th place car and you're running 27th place, that's a good day. Like that's an improvement on our day. So like at Watkins Glen, I finished 22nd. Like that's a really, really good day for RBR. Like 22nd, clean race truck, lead lap finish. That's a good day for the team. Like we're all happy with that. Um, but I'm a little bit of a hothead. I think people really piss me off when I drive. But at the end of the day, for where I'm at right now, a lot of times the financial repercussions of driving aggressively always prevail. Like I'm very like conscious of the idea that if I wreck somebody, I'm going to get retaliated against, or I'm going to damage my own race stuff while I'm doing it, and it's not worth it. If you ever saw me get to the top five, if it ever happens, I think you'll see like I'm pretty aggressive. Like I am bumper to bumper action. I'm not going to be afraid to move somebody. Like, I'm not out there to make friends. I'm out there to race. But like, there's no point in driving that way when you're racing for 22nd place. Like, it's not. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's not worth it. It's just not. It's just not. So my favorite driver growing up was Tony Stewart. Why? Because when I played NASCAR Thunder 2004, he drove an orange car. What was my favorite color and what is still my favorite color? Orange. So therefore, I was a Tony Stewart fan, and that kind of stuck through even when he stopped driving the Home Depot car and was no longer orange. I just stayed a Tony Stewart fan. When he retired, I was like, man, who am I going to root for? And I'm looking at the top 10 of that Homestead race, the last race that smoked dead. And in the top 10, there's somebody driving the 59 car. I'm like, holy shit, who's that? Never heard of him before. Yeah, you guys are like, who is it? It's Michael McDowell, because Levine Family Racing entered a second car that event. And McDowell actually finished inside the top 10. And I looked him up. And I was probably like, 14 at this time? So I'm like, oh my God, he has a crazy career. He's starting park most of his career. Look at what I ended up doing for a large part of my career. I was like, man, that is a guy who made it on grit. Like, and we don't have a lot of that anymore. We have a lot of money who ends up money turns into talent. Talent turns into money, and the cycle continues, right? Like, oh, if you can drive a blank race car throughout your Xfinity Series career because, Grandpapa owns the race team, that doesn't mean you don't have talent, but it does mean you don't need the money to make it, right? Like, and I am referring to Ty Gibbs. Like, Ty Gibbs is second in the Cup championship. He is extremely talented as a race car driver. However, we probably don't know who Ty Gibbs is if he doesn't have the backing of Joe Gibbs Racing. Like, that's just the reality of the world we live in. I always respected Michael McDowell because Michael McDowell didn't have any money to back him up. He literally just showed up and drove race cars the way people asked him to do it. He qualified into races, got the paycheck, and left the racetrack. And like, you'll read stories of McDowell, like he used to drive people's motorhomes to the racetrack for money. That's what he would do. And I had so much respect for that story that I stayed a Michael McDowell fan. So when he won the Daytona 500, this was before a driver, so I could tell the story. My dad and I wanted to watch the race together. So we put a few bets in. And one of the bets I told him, I'm like, Dad, Michael McDowell is a great plate racer. Like, he knows what he's doing. So we put like, I don't know, it was either 50 or $100 on Michael McDowell to win. And this race ended at like 1 a.m. So it's 1 a.m. and we won like $7,000 or $8,000 on Michael McDowell to win the Daytona 500 off that insane last lap explosive finish. And like 1 a.m, I remember jumping up and down and screaming. And that was part of the money I had saved that I ended up investing to fund my racing career when I moved to North Carolina. So technically I owe my racing career to Domino's, COVID, and Michael McDowell in some way, shape, or form. And then honestly, the fourth thing I did was before I ever raced, and I have to make it so clear that all this was before I ever raced, before I ever was licensed, any of that stuff. I actually used my degree in economics and the analytics background I had from UVA to work for gambling analytics companies, like people who did DFS contests, people who did odds analysis, like the Action Network. And I made content for them, making picks, making odds. They paid me, whatever. And then I participated in a lot of those contests. And I did win a substantial chunk of money on NASCAR DFS that also helped fund my racing career before I was ever a driver. Now, obviously, all that has gone by the wayside. I actually can't even use online sports books anymore because I am a professional athlete, and DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, all like the big sports books, they ban professional athletes from even accessing their platform.
Yeah. How does that, you called yourself a professional athlete. How does that feel, especially compared to other sports? Like, you are technically on the same level as someone like Justin Jefferson or Jackson Smith Najigba.
Yeah, I don't think Jettas could drive a car as fast as I could, but I don't think I could catch a football the way Jettas could. I got to tell you though, I will say this. Do I think I could survive an NFL game? No, that's not what I'm saying. I do think I could play a football game. I could play a whole football game, I think, as a wide receiver. I don't know that Justin Jefferson could do a NASCAR race. I don't know. I really don't think some of these guys realize how hard NASCAR is to do. Like, it is so challenging when you're inside of that race car. By the way, that is not to say I'm anywhere near the same level of I don't want this ending up on Twitter and being like, oh my God, Steve Malazzi said he's a better athlete than Jettis. No, I am not even close to the same levels as Jettis, but I am saying there is something to the specialty that NASCAR drivers have.
Yeah.
It's always interesting. When I talk to my friends about it, we joke about it. Like, we're like, oh, professional athlete. I'm like, hey, I got a Wikipedia page. I don't know what you guys have, but it's not that shit. But I always say, like, hey, like, I've always viewed myself as just a guy. Like, and even when I interact with people on social media, like, I interact like I'm a fan. I don't interact like I'm a driver. And I think, one, NASCAR would be a better sport if more people interacted like that, right? Like, if people dropped the sort of like, I don't have to interact, or I'm going to have a PR person do everything for me, I think we would be a better sport. But also, like, you know, I think it's a really unique perspective where I've been a fan for a really, really long time. 20 years now I've been a NASCAR fan. But also now I've had a really good look at the inside of the sport and I'm not exactly a rookie anymore. I've had 20 some starts at this point in my career. Maybe not quite that many, but I'm either at 20 or close to 20 starts at this point in my career. And that's like getting close to a full truck season of racing, like that's the chunk of races that I've had behind the wheel. So it's tough. I don't really view myself quite as a professional athlete at this point, which is weird to say out loud.
Yeah.
You have just looking up on your famous Wikipedia page, you have run 15 races.
No, it's got to be more than that, right? Is it only 15?
It's Wikipedia. Wikipedia can be wrong, though.
I mean, I know Wikipedia is not.
Now I gotta look. Hold on.
But
go to Pro Racing Reference.
It's
Is it 15? Is it 15 truck races and 16 total? It's 16 total. It's 16 total because I did one Xfinity race.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Gotcha. Awesome. I also wanted to say, glad to hear a fellow Tony Stewart fan. I'm a Tony Stewart fan for life. That would probably be my all-time favorite driver. We're from Indiana, so like racing is royalty here. So that means Tony Stewart is royalty. A god here almost.
Yeah. If you're interested in racing, you know the name Tony Stewart in Indiana.
Of course you do. Have you guys ever been to the 500?
Not to the 500.
No, I haven't been to Indy 500. And I really want to. I've been to the Brickyard 3 times.
I got to go to the Indy 500 this year with Snapback Sports. Shout out Snapback Sports. Got to give them the plug. They're greatest guys on the planet and such a great content machine. They invited me to go. I don't know if you guys got to know who Icy Vert is, right?
Yeah.
So Icy Vert, great story between me and Icy Vert. I saw that tweet. I liked it. And I DM'd him because I knew he was from Philly. And I have known of Icy Vert long before the NASCAR community did, because as a Philly guy, my Twitter is very Philly focused. So I reached out and I said, hey, man, you want to go karting? So we went go-karting, and there's like a sweet photo of me and Icy Vert, who have swapped. Hang on, give me 1 second. Hello. Is the door locked? Yeah. I asked them not to lock it. Okay, I'll come unlock it. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Live television. Hold, please.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remind me where I am too. Don't let me forget.
Yeah.
He's talking about Indy.
Yeah, I was gonna after this, I was gonna just talk to him real quick about how him going to law school, because that's the whole reason doing this entire summer was doing that.
Yeah, I figured too. Oof. And we're not filling the space out too great.
Yeah, I just drink.
We're talking
Mr. Pibb. Pibb.
Yeah, we're talking about pay drivers. I'm not gonna lie. I picked out my diecast of the week It's not a good one if we're talking about page drivers. I'm going to be honest.
That's another thing too. We got to ask him about his favorite paint scheme. Honestly, if he has one.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah.
like not
Well, he
Tony.
kind of hinted at it with
I know
Tony. So
Tony. Like okay, so maybe not Tony Stewart related. If it's just NASCAR in general
yeah.
that you've watched and you observed, because
Mhm.
yeah, I'm interested to see what you have to say about that. Well, if anybody that is watching this, we do have a show after we get done with this interview, but thankfully Steven is back joining us.
I do. I live up like 4 million flights of stairs. We just moved into a house, and I am on the top floor, so it takes a minute to get up and down.
All right. Yeah, you know where you're at.
Yeah. So, we went go-karting together. It actually started a great friendship. He used to be the social media manager for a company called Real Sports. He left Real, went to Snapback. I met up with him at Talladega while he was with Snapback for the first time doing content. And I made content with him then, formed some great friendships with their founder, Jack Settleman, Jack's brother, Casey, Timmy K, who's one of their main guys, and then, my continued relationship with Icybert. And Icybert ended up not being able to go to the 500. He had plans already for Memorial Day or something, or family coming in town or whatever it was. So they called me and are like, hey, do you have any plans? Do you want to go to the Indy 500? And I'm like, does a bear shit? Yeah, I want to go to the Indy 500. So we got like a full-blown VIP, like flown in on helicopters type experience to the racetrack. We got to golf on the course. I played terrible golf. I regret that to this day. And now they all think I'm a really bad golfer. And, that's really sad to me. No, but just fantastic guys. And it was such a cool experience. I've not experienced anything like it. Like, I think NASCAR, I love the Daytona 500, but I think NASCAR could take some notes from IndyCar on the Daytona 500 because it was a different level of sporting event. It was unbelievable.
I mean, it's called the greatest spectacle in racing for a reason, and it's been around for a good while, obviously.
Oh yeah, I think it's one of the greatest spectacles in all of sports. I think it's unbelievable.
So I guess the next question I have, we have a couple more left for you.
Yeah.
The next one I got is what you were doing over this summer, which is, you were going to law school, finishing that. How'd that go? And what's the whole what was your motivation behind doing that? Was it like family driven? Because you said your father was a lawyer too as well. So
It was more so that I always realized that even if I find a way to succeed in racing, sustained success, and like, by the way, people will look at my career and say that was not successful. I'm looking at my career and I say I thought I would have one start at most. I didn't ever think I would make it to NASCAR, and we're still talking 5 years in, almost 20 starts. Like, this is a way more successful career than I ever could have imagined. But even I knew that it was not going to be sustained. Like, I had to have a plan that would set me up for a future. And, I've never been, I got to stay busy, right? Like, I got to stay busy. So I was like, I'm just going to take on the challenge. I'll just go race cars and be in law school. It won't be a big deal. It'll work out. And it did. I graduated in May. And then I took the bar exam a couple weeks ago. So that's over and done with. And then I start work in September. And I'll be a lawyer in like 3 weeks. Kind of scary, kind of crazy to think about.
yeah, and I guess from that to transition back to racing for a second, just real quick. I know you said that Tony Stewart was your favorite driver, and obviously you love his orange paint scheme. What's another paint scheme that you really liked and have admired from afar? Because we ourselves over here are big paint scheme guys, especially Aiden, because he collects diecast like nobody else.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the number 22 Outback Steakhouse Ford F-150 from Bristol in 2023. No, I got to tell you. So the same guys who sponsored me this year at Watkins Glen have been on a lot of my race cars. Their favorite is the purple. I'm only going to talk about my paint schemes here because I think I've had some fantastic paint schemes. They really like the purple number 22 from Martinsville in 2023. that was their favorite. I got to tell you, I think my Watkins Glen paint scheme was freaking fantastic. I loved that paint scheme. I think that's probably my favorite because I love orange so much. Um, but I've had the pleasure of having 3 or 4 really, really cool paint schemes in my day. I'm grateful for that, to have cool paint schemes as a back marker. Like that's at least a consolation prize. I got some cool looking race trucks.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at in the field, honestly. I've come to know that if drivers really do care about their paint scheme, so you look good on the track, you're going to feel good in the car. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
It'd feel better if we were, up front, but beggars can't be choosers.
yeah, just looking at the schemes, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you. I really like the orange scheme.
Yeah.
And we mentioned Tony Stewart paint schemes. I know you mentioned the Orange 20, but me personally, I really love the Old Spice schemes. I love the
Interesting.
2010 Old Spice swagger scheme, if you know what I'm talking about.
I also I have to tell you, I have a sentimental attachment to his Burger King scheme because I think you ran that at Dover the first year I went to a NASCAR race. And that's like always one that's kind of stuck in my head a little bit. He might have won that race now that I think about it. Did he win?
No,
Not
he did win in the BK car, but
At-
it
at
was
Daytona.
at Daytona.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, so fun fact about that scheme, my aunt, like when I was really young, got me that scheme in a 124 die cast,
Nice.
and it's autographed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here,
That's
here.
pretty sick.
I'll go get it real quick. Hold
Yeah,
on.
go grab it. Go grab it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I myself am not a Tony Stewart fan, although I do respect him honestly, and he's great. I was a Dale Jr. fan. So my favorite schemes obviously is the 2001 Pepsi 400, even though I wasn't alive for it. I mean, you gotta admire that.
Nice.
That is
a
a
sick
nice
car.
scheme.
Oh yeah, I love this car. But yeah, Kyle Busch, RIP, wrecked in front of him, and he got the win in the Burger King car.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's always been one of my favorite schemes. I missed having Burger King on the car. Just unfortunately, some random back marker team just gave Burger King free sponsorship for no reason.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is like as time has passed on that, we used to have the soda wars, and now, you have to have those like burger companies that sponsor race cars. Now it's just like McDonald's, and
Yeah.
every once in a while you might see a Wendy's.
No, you got Hardee's too.
Oh yeah, Hardy. Yeah, that's right, Hardee's. Don't ask Aiden about Hardee's. He has a very up and down relationship with Hardee's.
Okay. I'll stay away from it.
I fucking hate Hardee's.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I think that's really all the questions that we had. So you can stay if you'd like, or we got to go on with the rest of the show.
All right, I'll let you get along with the rest of the show because my girlfriend just got here and she's cooking lobster ravioli, so I'm gonna go eat that shit. But thanks, guys, for having me on. It was a great time talking to you.
No problem. Thanks for joining us.
Yes,
of course.
yes.
Love having you.
Yes, thanks for having me on, and hopefully we'll have something to talk about soon in the future, and I'll come back.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's always great to have interviews like that.
Oh yeah,
he's
for sure.
He's the second one that we've had on this show, so hopefully we can get more in the future, and hopefully he can return soon. Anyways, yes, there is a race. There's multiple races to talk about this past weekend here at Iowa. First up, obviously with the Cup, Ty Gibbs able to hold off Christopher Bell, who once again comes on second in a, and I wouldn't say controversial way, but more so of, just more anguish towards the next gen car potentially with the arrow and stuff. But anyways, I mean, he did a very good job of holding Bell off there and grabbing his second career win. So Aiden, what do you think about that battle there at the finish?
I liked it. I was excited about it. It was very, very intense to see. I definitely thought Christopher Bell would fly by him as soon as he got to him, but she got to him, and Ty Gibbs was able to just slightly hold him off. The 2-tire call was very clutch and very huge. And of course, the pit cycle as a whole to end the race, we all thought, I included, thought that Ryan Blaney definitely had a chance. We thought he could have got there, but unfortunately, the two Joe Gibbs cars got in front of him, and it was just a waiting game at that point between two really young drivers. One having a career year, one not having a bad year by his standards, but still not a great year. Uh, and yeah, Ty Gibbs came out on top. Ty ran a great race. Ty ended up being is now second in points, which I was not expecting, and did not know he did until like Tuesday, till like yesterday. So big points day for him. Definitely the window opened up for him after what happened to Tyler Reddick, which we will dive into eventually.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Thank you for reminding me. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. We will mention it. Just real quick about the Ty Gibbs stuff. Yeah, I I'm a big proponent of. I wish tires mattered more than they do. I really do, honestly. I'm not saying that he had a terrible car. Obviously, he really didn't. JGR as a whole was just firing on all cylinders, every single one. None of them are missing really any single week. Um, but he in order to leapfrog Bell there on the pit cycle, he took two, and it was a great call. Don't get me wrong. The strategy is a part of NASCAR. It always will be. So that part I can admire. But I mean, there wasn't much fall off, honestly, between two tires to four. And that just bugs me a little bit. But anyway, it was a good battle, obviously, between them. I wish Keselowski was not in the way there in that turn one, because that would have been very interesting to see if Bell would have gotten to his left rear, dove it in there. Yeah, Bell has like 7 second place finishes or something. It's something crazy. He has like 5 second place finishes this year, and it's the longest he's gone without a victory. And you can tell like it's getting to him a little bit, obviously, because they keep asking him about him finishing second. I mean, you know what Joe Logano says when he finishes second, second sucks. So hopefully, Bell can find that extra speed and that extra execution that he would need to get a win. He should get one eventually before the end of the season because he's always in the mix. All right, next up, I guess you alluded to, so we'll get right into it there. Yeah, Tyler Reddick qualified really get well, but within 5 laps, he was out of the race as he lost it on the inside and ended up costing himself and Eric Jones both out of the race. And Jones earlier in the week made it known that they couldn't afford one more bad week, honestly. Otherwise, their chase chances was probably over. Well, unfortunately, it might be over, folks. And for Reddick, yeah, he keeps bleeding points. This is like his 25th place or worse finish in the last like 6 races. That team is not. They fired off super well. Obviously, 5 wins the first like 10 races of the year, but now he's back in 4th in points. So, Aiden, what's your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, if Kyle Larson wasn't having such a bad stretch, I'd say Tyler Reddick was the unluckiest driver in the field right now. Obviously, like qualified well. It looked like, well, maybe he can hold off Blaney, because honestly, the story going into the day is that myself, and pretty much everyone in the NASCAR world, we were all thinking Blaney was going to have a 70-point day, honestly. So I was thinking like maybe Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick can just like stop the bleeding a little bit. Like, I didn't think with Hamlin's brake issues and Reddick just not being too hot, I was definitely thinking like maybe they can just at least stay competitive and it not take a huge hit. Two different situations for both those drivers. Denny Hamlin actually ended up having a good day. Blaney, good. Good. I'd even argue great. Not an amazing day though. So he passed Tyler Reddick, but got passed by Ty Gibbs, so he kind of stayed third. Hamlin did get Ty Gibbs and Blaney were able to gain ground on Hamlin, but like I said, Hamlin kind of just stopped the bleeding. Even himself was really worried going into the weekend, and he thought they actually did a lot better than he was expecting. Yeah, it really does suck for Tyler Reddick, because we were talking about him being a championship contender. Now I'm thinking like if the chase started right now, he'd probably be the 8th or 7th best driver. Like, he wouldn't even be in the top 5 at least. And then on the flip side, Eric Jones having a bad day. I was actually more worried about Eric Jones. Uh, Unfortunately, I like Eric Jones. I'm gonna be honest. I just want him to make the chase. I think it'd be a cool story. And his race ended really early, and it looked like he could have had a really decent run. You mentioned how he was like, we can't afford another bad race, or else we're out of it. I don't think they're out of it yet. Just simply because the fact that Austin Cindric, kind of a guy that no one expected to suck, kind of just sucked. So Cindric having a bad day definitely helped them out a lot. They're not out of it yet, but it was not a good points day for them either.
Yeah, the guy that everyone's chasing, honestly, on that cutoff line, if he can't get to SVG, is Cindric, and yeah, you're right, Blaney and Logano and Josh Berry. Even no one behold, the Wood brothers actually showed up with some speed this past weekend, and he finished really well. But the one car that the Penske household that didn't was that too, and he's on the cutoff line, and you know he got bailed by the fact that everybody around that bubble essentially just was off. Obviously, Ryan Preece was, you could argue, was the best guy, and he finished like 20th place.
I'll actually argue the best guy on the bubble was a guy that wasn't in the bubble going into the weekend.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I guess we can talk about it now. Like Ross Chastain's run
yeah.
definitely propelled himself into, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I would say a month ago, we were all like,
He's out of it.
yeah, he's done. Sucks for Ross Chastain, but Ross Chastain has stringed together a few decent finishes. He finished 7th, and he was 11th at Atlanta. Like, he's staying up there. He's staying up there. He's staying alive. Don't know how long that's going to last for him, though. But he's trying to give himself a chance here.
He is, and that this opens up another argument about whether or not the chase. By the way, it does need to be cut. It still does. I don't like 16. I like 12 or 10. Because if it was 12, then you could be talking about guys like Byron potentially missing. Logano still would be potentially missing. That brings a lot more storylines.
We'd also be talking about Daniel Suarez's fall from grace. We'd be talking about that right now. Yeah,
he's on the slippage.
Mm-hmm.
After we were praising him for a good portion of the year because he did deserve it. That team did deserve it. He's kind of fallen off a little bit.
We'd be talking about the possibility of the defending champion Kyle Larson missing the playoffs or the chase.
If he keeps getting into bad luck, which I guess is the last topic of the Cup Series, honestly, was Hendrick Motorsports. Man, they are MIA. Where are they? Where have they gone? They got that again. It's been much talked about. They have a new body. Okay, they brought a new body in. Specifically, they did something to the nose of the car to do something with like the arrow wise. And yet here we are, obviously getting closer and closer to the chase. We're about 3/4 of the way through the season, and they have a whopping 2 wins. Corey Heim has the same amount of wins as HMS, and he's part-time. So HMS as a whole seems off. I don't know what your thoughts about it are, but mine are panic mode is in set, and it needs to be. And this team just looks completely like they're going in the wrong direction, honestly. When this is supposed to be when you're going in the right direction because you're going back to tracks potentially that you've gone to before, they're now slipping, and no one's slipping harder than Kyle Larson, honestly. Even when he's having good runs, that team ends up somewhere back where they shouldn't be. And then especially this past weekend in Iowa, where he qualified second place. He qualified second. His car wasn't really all that great, honestly, and I made it known in our chat that I felt like once he lost in track position, he was going to falter. And as soon as he did, his car was like battling outside of John Hunter Nemechek, which, is in its story. If you're around John Hunter Nemechek,
we're going to do this.
You're going to get in trouble.
You're going to get in this song and dance again. Like again, John Hunter Nemechek just causing mayhem for no reason because he doesn't have any talent. And he just takes out a driver and no one cares. Why does no one still not care?
So yeah, it was like him pushing Larson up out of the groove, and that obviously cost him a lot of spots there in that corner. Then coming off the corner, they're 4 wide. Riley Herbst or his doesn't realize, or his spotter doesn't realize, or something. They all come together, and Bowman gets turned into the wall, and that ends his day and ends Larson's day. And Chase Elliott, once again, another very slow day by that 9 car. Outside of them pulling some strategy that nobody else was doing, where he had to flip some track position by not pitting when the rest of the field basically did. It worked for him the first time. The second time was not so successful, and he somehow ends up 15th here. But he has not got a top 10 finish since his last win, which was at Texas, which is like almost 2 months ago. So,
That's
or well over 2 months ago, honestly.
yeah, that's rough. We've talked about the Hendrick downfall, and it definitely reared its ugly head. Now, granted, these kind of tracks aren't really their strong suit. Like Iowa's never really been good here. I know Byron won here last year, but Byron was kind of the only competitive car. They're not good at Richmond. They're not really great at Bristol either in recent years. So the short tracks are a little bit of an issue for them. Like they're bad at New Hampshire too. Like the track type definitely didn't help them, but I still expected a better day out of them. Bowman got wrecked out. Bowman's season's a lost cause. I don't. It's just done at this point. Like it's not even like worth like noticing really at this point anymore. It was done a while ago. Kyle Larson, like I said with Tyler Reddick, if Kyle Larson wasn't having the month that he's having, I'd probably say that Reddick was the unluckiest driver. Kyle Larson's just straight up the unluckiest driver right now. He has not really looked all that competitive. And when he is, he's kind of taken himself out. You got to look at some Kyle Larson races this year. Some of them are self-inflicted issues that he's causing by himself. I mentioned Chicagoland, a race that all three of us were at earlier in the year. Like Texas, he also spun himself there at Texas too, took himself out. Chase Elliott, I mean, he's 7th. He's been the best Hendrick driver. He's the only one that has wins. You remember me in the chat being frustrated that Elliott just wasn't pitting and was just being an issue for no reason. I was really not happy about that, but I understand the strategy. It worked the first time because he was able to stay in the lead for a little bit longer. The second time around, Blaney kind of got around him within 3 laps, and after that, it was over for him. And like they even mentioned it on the broadcast, like he was falling back and just losing spots, and the broadcasts were like, he's not even doing anything wrong. It's just pure speed. They were just saying like it's just how the car is. Like he's just sinking like a rock because of speed. I can't even mention William Byron. Wanna know why? Tell me one thing that Byron did at Iowa. No, tell me where he finished.
He finished 9th.
Did he actually? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I don't remember a thing that Byron did or
That is
has
Byron,
done since
that
Chicago.
is Byron. I was like, that is Byron's season, honestly. He'll come out, you'll never hear from him, and somehow he might get like a top 12 finish. Most likely back in top 10.
Yeah.
Which is how he's remained in the chase. So yeah, HMS is on a struggle bus right now. Panic mode is set in, and if when the off season comes, I think we're going to see some changes to Hendrick Motorsports because it's desperately needed. Because another thing I just got to point out real quick is that I don't know what it is, but Chevrolet as a manufacturer is just so slow at finding speed after they change their body, develop a new body, and whatnot. Because at least with like Ford and Toyota, they can at least go through halfway through the year still being competitive, and then they'll find that winning speed and then get the winning speed brought in, obviously, on the racetrack. And Chevrolet right now is not really doing that. So that was the Cup, and then moving over to O'Reilly, I really only had one. I mean, we could also maybe talk about the playoff bubble for that, chase bubble for that, because it is pretty tight, and they only have one more race left, and it's Daytona. So, but Carson Quaffle, the guy that couldn't win for a long time now, has suddenly won back-to-back races. And not only that, he is now second in the points. That's right. He has passed both Jesse Love and Corey Day in second in the points. And the chase is right around the corner. So honestly, that one car is turning around. I don't know about your thoughts, Aiden, but I do know one thing. I said get the crock pot ready because after he won it, that's how we're celebrating again with the Travis Quaffle crock pot.
Yeah, get the crock pot ready indeed. How about that for Carson Quaffle? I mean, not that long ago, we mentioned how at San Diego, he got wrecked and wasn't able to get his first career win. We talked about how that can affect a driver, especially mentally. Like, oh, I'm so close, I can't get there, or, you know, when will it ever be my turn? And as soon as you win one, it always seems like the floodgates just start rolling in, and they've started rolling in for Travis Quaffle. Carson Quaffle, not Travis. So the floodgates have opened up for him, and he had a great race at Iowa, had a great race at Indy, got a little trouble at Indy, but it's all good. It happens, and now he is second in points. Now he's not. He's not going to be first. Let's get that out of the way. He's still 238 points behind Justin Allgaier, which isn't talked about enough. How great he's been doing. Uh, so yeah, the floodgates are opened up for him. I can very well see him winning another race or two this season. I think it is time to put him in the conversation as a genuine championship contender. Obviously, Justin Allgaier is having an insane season right now and he's doing great. So we'll have to see what happens there because it's going to be an uphill battle to beat his teammate. But if you're looking for sleepers and underdogs, definitely look at Carson's way, which it's funny that I just referred to the second place driver in points as an underdog. He's just kind of happens to be up against a really good driver as well, having a phenomenal season. Yeah, just a heck of a day for Carson Quaffle, and really look at the cut line for the O'Reilly series. The top 8 drivers are already locked in: Sammy Smith, Austin Hill, Brandon Jones, Corey Day, Jesse Love, Sheldon Creed, Carson Quaffle, and Justin Allgaier are already locked in. Parker Retzlaff isn't locked in, but more than likely making it in. So is Sam Mayer. Actually, Sam Mayer, we'll see. We'll see. William Sawalage and Brent Cruz are only +1 to the good right now. Taylor Gray -1. And then Raja Karuth is only like -15 points out right now. So it's looking like this points battle is going to tighten up. Unfortunately, my long shot pick of Ryan Sieg making it in, it looks like it's not going to happen. But I'm really interested in how this point system's going to shape up the next few races, because they only got one race left. It's all come down to Daytona. This is it right here, right now. So yeah, I'm excited.
This is also the reason why I say like the chase cut line for the cup needs to be brought down to 12, because this right here is proven why. You got the JGR teammates of Brent Cruz and Taylor Gray that were separated by 1 point. And then you got Roger Cruz still there in striking distance. And, with the way his season's going, I mean, would anybody be surprised if Sam Mayer flips on lap 1 at Daytona, honestly? Because that seems like that's what happens to him, is that he has good runs going and he wrecks, or he just wrecks just straight up early in the race. And he doesn't get any points because of it. But no, I mean, I'll be told, obviously, everyone knows the JRM Chevrolets are the cars you got to beat week in, week out. Allgaier is the most consistent driver. He has the most wins, obviously, of anybody by a good margin, by 4. But Carson Quaffle, yeah, he had his rookie year was last year, and he finished. He was in the championship 4 race. He generally was. It's just that he was lost in the shuffle because he was battling, obviously, Zilich and Love and Allgaier, and he kind of got lost as the 4th driver, but he did make the championship 4. So he had a decent year, just that he didn't win any races. And he said coming into the year, he needed to win races and he needed to dominate, because he's not one of those drivers that brings a whole lot of sponsorship support. I mean, he has Bass Pro Shops still, but Bass Pro Shops sponsors a lot of drivers, honestly. So he doesn't bring any additional funding to the table. So what he does need to do is bring winning speed and wins. And so far, no one's had a better last 3 weeks than him, because he got to win at Indy. Then he had an off week where he got to celebrate additional. And then he comes back to the racetrack and wins again. So no one had a better 3 weeks than him, honestly. But yeah, this bubble in the O'Reilly series is coming down to, all in, all put your chips in the table Daytona race, where anything can happen. Literally, Roger Caruth could win, and he could leapfrog about 3 of these guys, honestly, and that knocks that cut line obviously down even further. But yeah, that was the races this past week. I guess we got to move to news around the garage. Of course, we're going to start with we just finished talking about points. We're going to talk about more points here, but we're talking about the Cup Series. So give me 3 drivers that you're looking out for in these next 3 weeks before we head to obviously that final showdown, which is the 10 races to the chase.
Oh, it's getting close. The season's about to end. It's already here so fast. I'm about to go back to school for my final semester. High school football around here starts Friday. College football starts soon. We've already had a Hall of Fame game for the NFL, which was an insane Hall of Fame game. I don't know if you saw it, Zachary. That was probably the best Hall of Fame game I've ever seen. I had no idea who Hayes King is, but I definitely knew him after that game.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately,
yeah,
he's on the IL. He got put on the IL, so unfortunately, yeah. But it was just one shining moment, okay?
yes, and it was really cool. So yeah, but all right. So drivers I'm going to look out for. The first one, honestly, Ross Chastain. Hopefully, this Iowa showing can be bigger than what it is. Obviously, runs good at Iowa, and we got the next 2 tracks are similar to Iowa. You got Richmond, which Chastain is historically good at. Is solid at Richmond. You got New Hampshire, a track he's kind of at. Could be interesting, and Daytona. Now you get Ross Chastain with a shot to make the chase at Daytona, and yeah, half the field's not making it out. We're having a catch fence wreck, is all I'm saying. If it does come down to that, so I'm looking out for Ross Chastain. SVG is another guy that I'm looking out for. Just hold on just a little bit more. Unfortunately, he is really bad at Richmond. He no way not going to beat around the bush last year, and all the other years he has ran at Richmond. He sucks here. Like Bristol and Richmond, he is just downright horrible. But he actually isn't. He actually stayed out of trouble in New Hampshire last year, so he has experience at New Hampshire. And Daytona, obviously, like we said, is a wild card. Now, he isn't that many points to the good, but he has a decent enough cushion to where he'll be all right. And the last guy I want to talk about is Daniel Suarez. He has collapsed and fallen from grace in the past few weeks. We hyped him up. He deservedly so. He was running great. He was a top 10 driver in NASCAR there for a little bit. I'm pretty sure he was as high as 6th in points. Now he's 12th, and he's kind of bleeding points. Now, does he have a good enough cushion? I think so. He's 100 to the good, but I don't know. You just never know. Like one bad week where he gets taken out quickly, just like what happened with Tyler Reddick at Iowa. All of a sudden, where Daniel Suarez is on the hot seat. Daniel Suarez has to look over his shoulder a little bit. So those are my 3 guys that I'm really looking at.
So you said Suarez, Chastain, and who else?
SVG.
Okay. All right. Then I'll stay. I was obviously going to stay in that realm regardless, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't relapse what you said. First guy up. Usually Rizzo, if he was here, he'd be talking about him because it's his driver, but I'll talk about him. Bubba Wallace. Yeah, he's just kind of doing the Bubba thing, honestly, because he's kind of up and he's kind of down. And it showed in the Iowa race where he got the lead. He was able to hold off Ryan Blaney. Rizzo said that his car was like a short run car. He held off Blaney there for a good while there. And then the caution comes out. He comes down pit road. And what does he do? He loses focus or something and then gasses it up, speeds on pit road, ends up losing all his track position for him to come back and finish 12th, which isn't terrible, obviously. But he missed out on some stage points there because I was still in the middle of stage 2 or at the close to the end of stage 2. And then he missed out on obviously a better finish, honestly, which is an additional 6 or 7 points. Don't hit the emote. Uh, you know, Bubba, I mean, he's a great super speedway guy, but you don't want to go into that race not virtually locked in, honestly. And with the way the team's running, they're running too good, honestly, for him to not get more points than he has been up to this point. So he definitely, in the next 2 weeks before Daytona, needs to get all the points he can. Now, I'm not sure that. Oh, 2311 was good at Richmond last year, but I'm not so sure about him at New Hampshire. I really don't. So Richmond is an opportunity for him to get some points and get some separation from that cutoff line. The next guy up on the list I'm going to look at here is Ryan Preece. He's just outside the cutoff line. And sure, the margin is bigger than what he lost at Texas with the 25-point penalty, but he didn't get that 25-point penalty. He'd only be -4 back. You know how more pressure that Austin Cindric would be under if he was only +4 to the good? That's the difference, honestly, right now. It's not the difference, the total difference, but it is a big difference, honestly. And Priest, I said it, like a lot of the bubble drivers around this, besides Chastain, were either slow or had misfortune happen to them. And Priest really had just one. He was just really slow. And unfortunately, RFK Racing as a whole there for a good month and a half, it seems like, is really slow. Even Chris Buescher, who's been their stalwart driver, has been kind of slow as well. And that's why he's dropped to 9th in points as opposed to where he was earlier when he was like 7th in points. Priest needs a good 2 weeks, honestly, because I don't really know what to think of. He's going to flip at Daytona, honestly. He could flip. He's the one guy that would because he's done it twice. So he can't rely on Daytona. He really can't. Yes, he's in
the most Ryan Priest thing ever is to like be leading at Daytona. If he wins, he will like get into the chase, and then like he pulls an Elliott Sadler and just like goes airborne, driving backwards in the middle of the infield, coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, he'll find a way, honestly. If your name is Ryan outside of Blaney, hopefully.
Yeah, Blaney hasn't yet.
Yeah.
He's had some rough Daytona wrecks, but he hasn't flipped yet.
Yeah, but I mean, Ryan Priest has carried on the tradition of Ryan Newman, and he can't rely on Daytona, honestly. No one really can. So he needs to get all the points he can get, and this is supposed to be his bread and butter, honestly, is these short tracks that, he's almost like he's like a Josh Berry type. He's younger than Berry, but he's a Josh Berry type where you look at a certain type of track that he's good at. He won the Bowman Gray Clash, okay? He has been decent at Martinsville. He's not really that great at Bristol, but these are the tracks you look at, okay? For him to do something, he needs to do it right now, obviously, because he's only got 3 weeks to go. And then lastly, the guy I want to talk about, honestly, is Christopher Bell, honestly. I mean, obviously, everyone knows that JGR is the dominant team so far. It's literally, it's like, if you can picture it, it's like 5 dragons, right? And the 4 dragons in the picture, 4 of them are all from JGR: Hamlin, Gibbs, Bell, and Briscoe. And then the other guy is Blaney. And I mean, it's a whole team versus one soldier. And Blaney's doing his best, obviously, to do what he can because he finished 3rd. And he's 3rd in the points. And he's surrounded by Toyotas. Anyways, besides the point, okay, what I'm trying to make here is that Bell, despite breaking his wrist, obviously, he has finished 2nd 4 times out of the last 5 races. And, that's a good sign because usually when a driver gets hurt midseason, especially in a vulnerable area like the wrist, you don't know what that can do for you. I mean, sure, people can joke how they want him out. They just turn left. I mean, there's a lot of stress that's going to be put on that wrist, honestly, with the amount of laps that it takes to drive. And it doesn't seem to be affecting him all that much. And on top of that,
usually when people tell me that all they do is just turn a wheel, I just said, yeah, they're turning a wheel. Grab a 45-pound plate and turn the wheel like every single, like for 3 hours. That's kind of what it is. When you're going that fast.
I mean, not only that, I mean, a lot of these tracks are not even like smooth either. A lot of them are rough. So,
like that got a lot of drivers at Iowa. That's actually what got Tyler Reddick at Iowa and caused him to turn. It was the bumps and the roughness of the racetracks.
I mean, even Bell had to save his car on the back straightaway from wrecking out. So
The
yeah,
track, Iowa.
yeah.
So, little props to Iowa. I thought Iowa was a great race. We're going to go back. Go back. Don't worry. I thought Iowa was a great race, and I really liked it because it was really challenging to drivers. The drivers in the field, they like this place. They really do. Like most of them do, except Denny Hamlin apparently. But
It's
a
because
lot
he's
of
like,
drivers like this place because of how difficult it is to race here.
yeah. The reason why Hamlin probably doesn't like it is because it messes with his brake package. Honestly, because he kept
Hmm.
having brake failures or close to them. Anyways, with Bell, just lastly, again, he's here 6 points, and like Briscoe, he is heating up at the absolute right time. He doesn't have any wins, which is the reason why he's back here in 6 points. But Briscoe and him could probably lock in this upcoming weekend, and they'd be fine. Obviously, that's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point I am trying to make here is that you got to close, man. You got to close. When you're this close to this many races, I expect you to at least not go over. Unless you're Sheldon Creed, unfortunately. Uh, you need to get it done. Obviously, we know you can, and hopefully he can get it done before. Hopefully, he can get it done before the chase. Honestly, because New Hampshire is coming up, and we know how good Bell is there at New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
probably honestly, New Hampshire might be his best track. He is really good there. Him and Ryan Blaney are in their class of their own when it comes to New Hampshire.
exactly. So that's a lot. That's a big segment about talking about the points, both with the O'Reilly Series and the Cup.
Hmm.
I guess the next topic, which I brought up yesterday, and I just found it completely weird and honestly stupid, and you did as well, is Corey Heim is apparently not eligible to be running for the Rookie of the Year next year, as between last year and this year, NASCAR has made a rule to where you can't run more than 12 races before your first full-time season in Cup. And because he did not apply for points for Cup this year, and he's going to do it obviously next year, and he's already going to run well over 12 races, he is not eligible for the Rookie of the Year award. And I'm just going to let you talk about it first.
Well, you said it was stupid. I said it. I said something slightly similar that I'm not going to repeat on here. Uh, why? Why is this a rule? Like if it's their first season, like declaring for Cup, because that's what you got to do. You got to declare for Cup. If it's like the first ever time you're doing that, that should be it. That should already like be. Yep, that's what it is. Like, say like a driver like runs 35 races out of 36 as a part-time driver. If he didn't declare for Cup, he doesn't get it. I just fixed the rule. I just fixed the rule in like 2 seconds. I didn't even think about that. Like before going on to the show because I kind of forgot about how stupid it was. I just fixed it in 3 seconds. The first year you declare for Cup should be you contend. It should be quote unquote you contending for Rookie of the Year. If you declare for Cup and you run 12 races, tough shit. That's how it is. that okay, you're competing for Rookie of the Year now. You only run 12 races. You shouldn't have declared for Cup. I don't know. Like I just fixed the rule in like 2 seconds. Like it's so dumb. It's dumb. It's ridiculous.
So everyone knows how great Corey Heim has been in his starts, that he has applied for and been able to run. And obviously, 2 wins. If he would have applied for the award this season, you could argue that he deserves it more than Connor Zilic, even though he's not running the full schedule because of how good Corey Heim has been and how awful Zilic has been so far this year. And, with the Rookie of the Year, it's different obviously than other sports to where you can clearly define who's going to be in it. If a quarterback's in it, he's playing good, he's going to be eligible for the award. If a wide receiver is obviously in it, he's probably going to be eligible for the award too. If there's a defensive player out there that's putting up a historic season, he's going to be in it as well. But NASCAR is completely different, obviously, because you go through these ranks and everyone gets to the Cup Series in their own path. So that's why you might see only like one or two rookies. Like this year, you only see Connor Zilic unofficially because I guess Corey Heim again did not apply for it, so he gets the award automatically.
It could be worse. We were having 2010 seasons and
Yeah,
late 2000 seasons where drivers were running 15 races, finishing 36 and winning Rookie of the Year. So
yeah.
yeah,
I was looking at the Rookie of the Year history of it, and yeah, you said it. The early 2010s, 3 straight years had Kevin Conway win it in 2010, Andy Lally win it in 2011, and Stephen Light win it in 2012. Now, who they beat out for those awards? Beat out Terry Cook, TJ Bell, Brian Keselowski, Josh Wise. At least I know him, and then Timmy Hill. So,
you made up two of those names. Those first two names were made up, and I am not going to be convinced otherwise.
and then obviously, you get to the middle 2010s, and that's when you see obviously these other drivers come up like Kyle
Then
Larson.
wasn't 2015 like Jeb Burton, and that was like the last bad year.
Yeah, arguably, yeah, because this was the year that Brett Moffitt of all people won it.
Brett
Um,
Moffitt won it. Yeah.
but yeah, you get it like 2016, Chase Elliott from there, and then obviously Eric Jones, William Byron, Daniel Hemrick, and then Cole Custer in 2020 because he won Kentucky. But that's it.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing where if you won a race and made the chase, you were pretty much guaranteed like Rookie of the Year. And Cole Custer won it in 2020, even though Tyler Reddick was way better. And I thought like Chris Buescher was going to win it in 16, but thank God Chase Elliott made it one more round than he did.
Yeah. And then I want to bring up the 2023 one just real quick because it goes back to this point about how stupid this rule is of limiting races. You had Ty Gibbs and you had Noah Gragson. Now, Ty Gibbs ended up winning it, and obviously I think that was obviously the right call. But both of those drivers had more than 12 starts. Did NASCAR take away their eligibility? No, they didn't do it. And because of that, and because of how idiotic this is, obviously Corey Heim now, I mean, does he really care in the grand scheme of things? Obviously, no. He just wants to go out there and run well. But for fans on the outside, they can tell how stupid this is. And it really is because he is a great driver. He deserves to be recognized for it. If he's not going to be able to recognize for it outside of his race wins, which still, even though he has only 2 wins, he's going to go probably a decent period in his career at some point without winning a race. Everyone does it. You would like for him to be recognized early on for how great he's been and how, he's not been able to be put through a full season yet. Yet he's not eligible for it. And that's just stupid. And then following up on that, we had this final one that I saw going around. So back to the O'Reilly series real quick. Sam Mayer apparently is rumored to go back to Junior Motorsports. Now, how this would work is, excuse me, is that Roger Carruth obviously is locked in probably for the 88 car, and Justin Allgaier is locked into the 7. Now that leaves up some spots available potentially. And what's going to happen here apparently is Sammy Smith, who's the driver of the 8, might get traded because Haas is now a Chevy team again, might get traded to Haas factory, and Sam Mayer will get put back to Junior Motorsports. Now, to me, I think Junior Motorsports wins out in this trade. Obviously, no offense to Sammy Smith, he is locked into the chase, but again, he's like William Byron, but he's much less flashy, which isn't a very good thing because he wins a race here and there. It ain't often. He does his job. Again, he does his job fairly well. He brings in a lot of money. I don't disrespect him for that, obviously, and he does put up decent results, but the dude just doesn't win. At least Sam Mayer has proven he can win. It took him a while to do so, but he did finally end up putting together some good seasons there for Junior Motorsports, especially in his last one there. So I think Junior Motorsports went out in this deal, honestly.
Yeah, you mentioned it with Sammy Smith. Now, I kind of have this term in sports where I say the guy doesn't raise the bar exactly. It's usually what I use with NFL talent, with NFL players. Like if there's a trade, and I don't think it was a good move, or it wasn't a good move, but it wasn't a bad move, but it wasn't a good move either. It doesn't raise the bar for me. Yeah, like Kyler Murray being on the Minnesota Vikings, it doesn't raise the bar for me. Like it doesn't drop it. It doesn't really raise it either. Uh, so that's what Sammy Smith kind of is to me, especially at Hendrick Motorsports. He's just kind of a guy that's there. He's not going to make the team worse. He's not going to make the team better. And I think Sam Mayer can raise the bar a little bit, at least at HMS. I think if they do have Sam Mayer, their driver lineup is back to being one of the best in the garage, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's no really disrespect to Sam Mayer. Again, I don't think he's a bad driver. I just think he's not going to compete for championships. He's not going to have a 6-win season. He's not going to do any of that. He's just going to be there. And I think Sam Mayer could do that. I mean, we've already kind of seen him almost do it in that 41 car already. Haas factory team. That's honestly not really that great in the O'Reilly series. Still pretty good team. Not really that great though. So if this does happen, I'll be interested to see if Sam Mayer possibly could become the number 2 guy. Maybe we could see him be the number 2 guy, but we'll have to see and see what happens there.
Yeah, hopefully Junior Motorsports can settle its lineup. I hope Carson Quaffle is still there because there are some question marks around him. But obviously, after he just won 2 races in a row, you would think that they want to keep him. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, Junior Motorsports is the best team to be at in the O'Reilly series. So hopefully, they'll set it before too long. Now, let's get to our awards ceremony. Aiden, who was your top shelf of the week?
Yeah, top shelf of the week. Kind of forgot about this one. I'm going to go the boring route. I'm going to say Ty Gibbs. Just having an incredible race, an incredible drive, just overall having a career year. And not only that, like he passed Ryan Blaney, who everyone thought was going to be the dominant car, it's going to be a hard day to pass Ryan Blaney in the points today. And he did that. And you passed Tyler Reddick on top of it. So, yeah, give me Ty Gibbs on this one.
All right. And for me, because of how murky his future is, and because how he desperately needed a good run, how I hinted at it, how Penske had good cars. They brought good cars. There was only one guy that didn't. It was Austin Cindric. That means that Josh Berry got himself had good car, and he actually finished the race well. Josh Berry here in 4th. He needed it so badly. That team needed it so badly. They're out of the chase. They're not going to make it. It's not going to happen. But he needed something good to go off of. And, outside of him, obviously, just finishing poorly, he usually is end up wrecking in the garage. That's how you end up getting TV time, is him wrecking, being in a wreck. This time, he actually got some decent TV time because they're actually showing him in the top 5. I couldn't believe it. But Josh Berry, him in Iowa, somewhat quick, obviously, and he needed it, and it was a good run. So, Josh Berry, salute to you. One of the only few times you're probably going to get a top shelf award of the year. And obviously, the flip side of that from being top shelf is a hangover. So, Aiden, who is your hangover?
You're gonna have to hear me out on this one, but give me Austin Cindric. Yeah, you kind of alluded to it with Josh Berry. He was the only Penske car that sucked. That includes Josh Berry. Josh Berry outran him. When you have Ryan Blaney dominating stage 1 and winning stage 1, and Joey Logano up there leading laps, I don't remember exactly where Logano finished, but he had a top 10 day as well. Josh Berry finished in the top 5, probably his best finish of the season so far. And a racetrack that you're expected to be good at, especially how good Austin Cindric already is at New Hampshire and Gateway, and he's had decent finishes at Richmond. Especially for how good he's ran at those places. You would think he'd be good here, but no. He just was a non-factor. He sucked all day. And not only that, the window was wide open for him to gain a lot of points. Eric Jones got taken out on lap 4. Ryan Preece didn't have a good day. Brad Keselowski was getting lapped only a few laps in. Ross Chastain has been a non-factor all season. Yeah, he had a good race, but he could have like widened that gap a little bit more, and he just simply didn't do that. He just sucked this weekend. It was not a good weekend for Austin Cindric.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It wasn't. I'm gonna choose the guy that got in that wreck with Eric Jones. I mean, how can I not? Tyler Reddick. I mean, you've heard of summer swoons. You've heard of the summer blues. He definitely has something. He has caught something. He needs to get rid of it because, again, early on in the summer, I said he was going to give back some of those finishes that he was gotten earlier in the year, where he finished no worse than 15th. He's given all that back and then some. He has been awful, and there's some bad luck that's played into it. Obviously, at North Wilkesboro, Bowman cuts across his nose, causes a caution, damages his car, and he ends up obviously with a poor finish at North Wilkesboro. So that was obviously not his fault. But you go here, a race where you qualify really well, honestly, and it's a good first start, but you can't make it past lap 5. And on top of that, you yourself is the reason why you ended up not making the whole driver situation where you got loose. Obviously, you tried to overcorrect it a little bit and took yourself and Eric Jones out. And not only that, you dropped obviously from second in the points, which is the lowest you'd been up to that point, to fourth in the points. And you got guys around you that are running a lot better than you are. Like, look at the guys that are surrounding him. Obviously, Hamlin finished well. Ty Gibbs won the race. Blaney obviously has been one of the most consistent drivers, if not the most consistent driver, and he's on Penske equipment. No offense, but Joe Gibbs Racing is on a different level than everybody else, and yet Blaney is still, obviously producing good results. And then you got behind him, Briscoe heating up. Obviously, as the summer's gone along, Bell, I've talked about it, 4 second place finishes in the last 5 weeks. So you got drivers that are around him that are getting hotter and hotter, and he's just getting colder and colder. And this is the time you don't want to be entering the chase with bad momentum, because that can carry over and linger. And you can't really afford that, especially if you want to contend for the championship. So Tyler Reddick finishing here in 36 is my hangover of the week. And as we move forward, we'll go to picks and predictions, obviously. So upcoming this weekend is Richmond. It kind of caught me by surprise a little bit, honestly, because the way this schedule was laid out, Iowa, Richmond, and New Hampshire kind of run together in my mind. That's why I kind of forgot that Richmond was this upcoming weekend before I looked on it on Monday. But Richmond is here. It's a very unique track, obviously. It can, believe it or not, it can produce some good tire wear, some good strategy. You saw that last year, how a lot of strategy come into play, and that's what cost RFK a good, decent day, because they messed up with their strategy. But you saw obviously some of the familiar contenders up there like Hamlin. Apparently, Austin Dillon now, as soon as he breathes the Richmond, Virginia air, he turns into Dale Earnhardt. I don't know. But he's back-to-back Richmond race winner. So we'll see if anybody can challenge him. But Aiden, because, well, actually, I guess it's me. I go first before you do. But Bunny and Rizzo are not here, but they did give us their picks. So Bunny is going to take Hamlin, and Rizzo is going to take Byron. And I guess before I go, I just want to say I figured you taking Blaney was going to be the best option, obviously best pick. It happened. You end up winning the weekend. No real shock. I gave it a good ride there with Briscoe. I just had to pick him before.
Yeah, I was on a really rough stretch there for a little bit, especially after I won 3 out of 4 in one stretch, but then I got a fourth, second, third, fourth. So I was like, I just need something now. I just need something. So it was like, I was originally, the original plan was to save Blaney for New Hampshire, but I was just like, nah, we got to do it right now. So yeah, it was the best possible pick I could have made, because I already picked Ty Gibbs. I actually picked Ty Gibbs at Bristol, so I actually picked him to win, and I already had Christopher Bell, so he was the best possible pick for me to make.
Yeah, I gave it a good run with Briscoe. Honestly, I didn't expect much, at least in terms of winning, because you picked Blaney, but it came close. Honestly, he finished 5th there. So, anyways, for me, again, I've picked a lot of good drivers already. So unfortunately, I can't pick a Hamilton. And Bunny already did so I can't pick him regardless. So I'm gonna pick this guy. I was kind of hyping him up there a little bit. Obviously, I can't pick him anywhere else because I was kind of saving him. So thankfully, I can pick him because no one else did. Give me Austin Dillon. That's right. He's going for the three-peat. Again, I might as well do it because I don't pick him anywhere else. And he actually this track type does apparently suit him because he finished 10th at Iowa. So, and that's somewhat similar to Richmond. So we'll see how it goes. Austin Dillon, go for that three-peat. Honestly, it's the only time that you can do good. And the great part about it is you still won't make the chase because even if you do win, because the winning in is over. So, yeah,
Yeah. For me, I kind of figured I'd be scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Um, Everyone's swinging for the fences, so I might just be taking an off week here, pretty much. I knew I'd get slim pickings. I always have a list on my phone on like the 4 drivers I would take, or well, if I finish third, the 3 drivers I would take just in case they get taken out. And honestly, this guy was last on the list. I'm not going to say Dylan was definitely one of them. Dylan was first on the list, but he got taken out. I was kind of expecting that anyways. And then I had another guy, and then another guy, and then this guy. But honestly, I'm kind of going off of vibes right now. And right now, now that I think about it, now that I'm thinking about it, nah, I'm going with the third guy, not the fourth guy. The third guy is Daniel Suarez. That's who I'm going with at Richmond. He finished well here last year. Remember that. Surprise! He did not have a good final season with Trackhouse, and then he showed up here and he like finished 4th. So, could he do better in a Spire car? We'll have to see.
yeah, we'll have to see about that. You know, I've already kind of made my thoughts about Richmond. Again, I find it very unique. It's again, it's an interesting track because what's funny is, I sometimes live off nostalgia. I mean, who doesn't, honestly, sometimes. I went back and watched some of those races that, used to close the regular season and how epic they were, honestly. And, Richmond now obviously is now earlier than that. It still is here at the end of the regular season, but not obviously determining who gets in and who doesn't. But, I think it can produce a good race if the circumstances around it can play up to that as well. And I kind of mentioned that earlier, how it does tend to give you some tire wear, and I think that's obviously incredibly important because tires are going to matter a lot. They just do, and you can see wild stuff happen. Honestly, you can see it all the time. It really does. I don't know what it is about it. It just happens. I don't know if it's because like the under the lights, the pressure gets to guys, but you might see a big wreck happen. It has happened before. It happened like 2 years. No, it happened last year actually. It had a big wreck. Um, that set up a bunch of strategy there as well. So I don't know what to expect with Richmond. It's kind of just in the middle. Again, a lot of these races in the summer or the end of summer, to me, always end up in the middle. But I mean, it's something you got to look out for. You know why? Because it can help determine who can make it in and who doesn't. Because you get closer and closer to that Daytona race, and obviously after that you choose the 16, I guess, that make it. So a guy like Austin Cindric needs to either show up, because if he doesn't show up, a guy like Ryan Preece could show up and he can get even closer, if not maybe past Cindric on that cutoff line. So it should be interesting to watch.
Yeah, Richmond is a weird race for me personally. I think Richmond can put on good races. I just think this car sucks, so it just hasn't in the next gen car. I feel like the Gen 6 was kind of a 50-50 toss-up with Richmond races. Some were good, some weren't good. You mentioned it being the regular season finale. One of my core Richmond memories was the 2016 end of the season Richmond finale. That was just a wild race. Go back and watch that race. That race was just wild. And really entertaining, not to mention 2017 as well. That was a really entertaining race too. Uh, so I think Richmond can put on good shows. It's just the car currently just sucks. So not really looking forward to Richmond. And I again, like I've mentioned this before, the how good is your driver at the racetrack effect also takes place. Blaney historically has not been good at Richmond, even though the past few years he has improved. But there were at the start of Blaney's career, he was running 23rd on a daily basis at Richmond. It was not good, and even later stages, Tony Stewart wasn't really great at Richmond. But to be fair, later stages of Tony Stewart wasn't really great much anywhere else either. There was only like a few tracks late stage Tony Stewart was still good at. New Hampshire was one of them. So yeah, I remember 2014, 2015, 2016 Tony Stewart being like, yes, we're at New Hampshire, because he actually stayed good at New Hampshire. But anyways, I digress. That's next weekend. This weekend, Richmond, just not all that excited for it. I mean, that's probably the best way to go into it. So we'll have to see. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Indy, but I don't think it's going to see the highs of Atlanta either. So yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't expect that, honestly. If it came close to what North Wilkesboro honestly was, because that there you could see a decent amount of passing. It was still hard, don't get me wrong, but you saw like the groove widen out a little bit. That's what you kind of want to see out of Richmond, is like you have the bottom and then you have like the middle lane just above it. So I guess from there, because usually we end these shows off with the diecast of the week and the pick the driver. Well, I do have a driver in mind, but since it's only you and me, I'm gonna save it for next week, and we'll end it off with your diecast. I know you said it's like not a very good one, but we'll end it off with that regardless. So, who did you decide to pick for the diecast of the week?
Okay, so I went with the driver that's good at Richmond. Uh, you meant we were talking about pay drivers, and then I kind of looked over and was like, damn, the diecast I kind of just picked isn't really a great one. He won the Daytona 500 in this car. It's probably one of my favorite paint schemes of this driver. I really enjoy it, and that is the 2018 Dow Chevrolet of Austin Dillon. Now, this is probably my favorite Dow car, honestly. Uh, I wasn't really a fan of the 2015 and the 2014, 15, 16 car. Did he run that 17? I think he did too.
I think you did, yeah.
Or something different. I did. So he ran this in 2018. In 2019, he drove a different scheme, which I also have that scheme and I really like it. I do also have the 15 to 17 scheme as well. But yeah, this is his Dow car. He won the Daytona 500, wrecking Eric Almirola on the last lap in the most Austin Dillon fashion. But it was still cool to see the three RCR car win the 500. That was still really cool. I just really like how we go from a bright red to fades into the black. That, in my opinion, is really cool. I always like that on race cars. I like the white roof number with the red 3. I really enjoy that too. And not to mention, this was the first year of the Camaro, and this car just looked mean. I just really like the look of this car, and really holding it in person. It's a really simple paint scheme, but I enjoy the simple scheme sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you can go too much, like have too many colors on it, honestly, and that can just like throw everything off. Austin Dillon has had his fair share of paint schemes, obviously, over the years, and Rizzo might not like a single one, considering he's Austin Dillon, because he doesn't like Austin Dillon. But I think that was a fine, fair choice, honestly, especially because I do think he can be a contender. We've seen it obviously in the past 2 years that he's been up there. But yeah, I guess that's going to end it off here for Moonshiners Racing, presented by Debo Street Sports. We had a lot to discuss. Obviously, it's kind of a wacky show. We had Stephen Malazzi on here with us, talking his journey to racing, and then we'd obviously recap Iowa and to talk about Richmond. So Yeah, it was fun talking to all things NASCAR with y'all. I'm Zachary Kendall. He's Aiden Fortney. And hopefully Rizzo and Bunny will join us next week because, it's just better to have a better crowd, honestly. The more opinions, the better. So
Yeah,
we'll see. But
this was a fast show.
yeah, it was because typically these go past 10 o'clock, but we're ending a little early. That's fine. Okay. That's fine. But yeah, thanks to everyone for joining us. Again, my name is Zach Kendall. He's Aiden Fortney, and we'll catch y'all next week.